Hello. Hello, dear friends. Ken Graves here with God's Sword. It's Thursday, February 19th. February 19th, the year 2026. There may be some noise. I don't think I turned the compressor off. Still working on the house. I'm finishing it. I'm near. But it's been, well, it's been a long road. The compressor may kick on. I don't think I turned that off. Matthew chapter 20. Continuing in Matthew chapter 20, shall we? Verse 17. And as Jesus was about to go up to Jerusalem, he took the 12 disciples aside by themselves. And on the way he said to them, Behold, we are going up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man will be betrayed to the chief priests and the scribes. They will condemn him to death and will deliver him over to the Gentiles to mock and flog and crucify him. And on the third day, he will be raised up. Apparently that was too plain for them, and it was too sad to imagine, too troubling a thought for them to consider the possibility that he actually meant what he said. This wasn't a parable. It wasn't an illustration. He was plainly stating fact that was about to happen. It wasn't a dark saying. It wasn't some sort of very spiritual riddle. It was just plain fact, prophecy. This is what is going to happen. So he tells them. What is not written here is that they don't get it. They don't understand what he means. Verse 20 says, Then the mother of the sons of Zebedee came to him with her sons, bowing down and making a request of him. So the request apparently, the bowing and the request comes, and she wants something. So she let him know, I have one request. Please grant it. So she's asking before she states what the request is. And he said to her, What do you wish? She said to him, Command that in your kingdom these two sons of mine may sit on your right and one on your left. But Jesus answered and said, You do not know what you're asking. Are you able to drink the cup that I'm about to drink? They said to him, We are able. He said to them, My cup you shall drink. But to sit on my right and on my left, this is not mine to give, but it is for those for whom it has been prepared by my Father. So, Salome, wife of Zebedee, mother of James and John, she has ambitions for her sons, as a parent should. A parent should hope for great achievement, for greatness. I think a parent should wish that their children would do well. Her ambition goes too far. Her ambition, apparently, for them was greater than their ambition for themselves, for they did not initiate this. Their mother did. They're grown men. Once we're grown men, our mother ought not be going to our job interviews with us or trying to seek promotion for us. Well, we can't be too hard on her for wanting greatness and great things for her sons. However, her request, when you come into your kingdom, grant that these two sons of mine may sit, one on your right, one on your left. And the Lord said, you don't know what you're asking. But he followed that up with, you believe you can drink of the cup I'm about to drink of? And they, without knowing what that cup is, said, well, yes, we are able. He said, well, you will then. They would experience suffering. They would share in the fellowship of the Lord's suffering, as all the apostles did. James would die before John. He would be martyred. John would outlive all of them. And though he doesn't die as a martyr, he lived as one. He suffered imprisonment and torture. They did indeed drink of that cup, but the Lord said, you don't know what you're asking. And I think that's true of most of us with our prayers. We don't really know what it is we're asking. We don't have the full appreciation of much. So think about this, and you probably know this already. But not many days from this moment, while this is still fresh in all of their minds, our Lord would be crucified. He would be impaled, spiked to a cross, between two thieves. Both of those thieves initially mock him, both of them. They have contempt for him, but as the suffering goes on, one of the two experiences profound revelation. He puts it all together. It all comes together for him. And near the end, the other thief, mocking, cursing, wasting hard-earned and precious breath, cursing someone who is dying beside him. And then this thief rebuked him, stood up for the Lord. He told him, stop it, be quiet. Have you no fear of God? Don't you realize we are getting what we deserve? He's done nothing wrong. He stood up for the Lord. He confessed faith in our Lord. And the Lord said to him, no, I should also say, before slumping down, after rebuking the other thief, that thief turned to our Lord and said, Lord, remember me. When you come into your kingdom, remember me when you are, as it were, on your throne. When you come into your kingdom. What did the Lord say to him? The Lord said, today you'll be with me in paradise. Today. Thus indicating that it was that very day that he would enter, he would be glorified. He would suffer and die, but he would enter paradise. He would come into his own kingdom. There are those, because our Lord was dead 3 days, and their lack of understanding with regard to the place of the dead, the Hebrew Sheol, the general place of the dead, without understanding that it was compartmentalized, and there was a torment side and a comfort side, according to the Son of God himself in Luke chapter 16, because they don't understand that. They'll say the old creeds, and that Christ died and descended into hell. And in the sense that hell, there would be a reference to Sheol. Yes, he did. But he didn't descend into torment. His work was completed when he offered up his body, when he died. The physical death of the Son of God was the payment for all of us. There was no more suffering for him, not in hell or anywhere. Once he's physically dead, and by the way, in his dying cried out, it is finished. Tetelestai, it's finished. Not, this part is finished. No, his work to save us was finished with his physical death. The Lord came into his kingdom and went into paradise. And who was on his right hand and his left? Two thieves, fulfilling prophecy from Isaiah 53, that he was counted with the criminals in his death and with the rich in his burial. I wonder if, I rather don't expect that it was that day, as they were there, eyewitness to the Lord's death. Salome was there. I don't know when, but at some point, when all of this came together for them, and the resurrected Christ made it plain to them that Christ was supposed to suffer first, then enter into his glory, as he does in Luke chapter 24. Once that was made known to them, at some point or another, they all must have, James, John, and Salome, their mother, must have went, we requested that you be on one side or the other, right hand or left. And the Lord said that place has been prepared for others. They did not know what they were asking. But oh, the mercy of the Lord. The mercy of the Lord. I love the story of those two, well, the story of the two thieves. I love the story of the one, for his story ends better than the other. But he made it very clear that the place on his right hand and on his left, when he would come into his kingdom, well, that place was spoken for. Verse 24 says, in hearing this, the 10 became indignant with the two brothers. But Jesus called them to himself and said, you know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their great men exercise authority over them. It is not this way among you. But whoever wishes to become great among you shall be your servant. And whoever wishes to be first among you shall be your slave. Just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life a ransom for many. The worldly philosophy of, climbing to the perceived top of whatever social stratification or power structure there might be, it's not the way of the kingdom. The kingdom of God is different, and the Son of God makes it plain to them. You know how the Gentiles are. And I'm sure that when he said, you know how the Gentiles are, how they those in leadership lord it over. And initially, I bet the guys were going, now we're talking, yeah, like how the Gentiles do. And the Lord goes, yeah, well, not you, not this kingdom. Anybody who wants to be great in this kingdom must be the servant of everybody. So in other words, the way down is up, the way up is down, and what we perceive as up, because the whole world has been turned upside down, is actually down. So to humble oneself. And he made it plain to them that anyone who wants to be great in his kingdom has to serve and not focus on being served. Even as the Son of Man came, not to be served, but to serve and to give his life a ransom for many. And they hear that together with, we're going to Jerusalem, I'm going to die, I'll be raised up the third day. None of it makes sense to them. It still does not come together. As they were leaving Jericho, a large crowd followed him, and behold, two blind men sitting by the road, hearing that Jesus was passing by, cried out, saying, Lord, have mercy on us, Son of David. But the crowd sternly told them to be quiet. They cried out all the more, saying, Lord, Son of David, have mercy on us. These two blind men know this is Messiah. He is the heir to David's throne. He is not just a descendant of David. But that's significant. That means he's Messiah. That means he is the very specific descendant of David that would be heir to the throne. And they're asking for mercy. Mercy. The basis of the request is not merit. We've done good. We've not done bad. We don't deserve this blindness. No, the basis of their appeal is have mercy on us. And Jesus stopped and called them and said, what do you want me to do for you? They said to him, Lord, that our eyes may be opened. And moved with compassion, Jesus touched their eyes, and immediately they regained their sight and followed him. Oh, that everyone's eyes would be open. There are so many people whose eyes are closed. They don't know their eyes are closed and that they're blind spiritually. But the Lord, he opens eyes. It's interesting to me in this story. I've always been amused by the crowd. These guys are boisterous. They're desperate. They don't have the advantage of knowing exactly how close, so they are throwing sound in the general direction they understand Messiah to be in hopes that he'll hear it. And the crowd rebukes them, tells them to be quiet. Why should they obey the crowd? Why should anybody obey the crowd? What is that? What is the crowd saying? Just be content with your blindness. Just, accept it. Just settle for it and stop bugging us. Quit this noise. Stop your yelling. You're making a spectacle of yourself. Well, that's what desperate people do. Desperate people will care little about etiquette or perceived etiquette and just cry out to the Lord. So that's what faith does. Faith persists. Faith is humble. Faith, you can't humiliate somebody who is acting in faith because they're already humbling themselves. Faith is humble, and faith persists. They didn't turn it off. They didn't turn it down. They turned it up, and they got their answer. They were shown great mercy. So listen, for us, isn't there, my friends? We ought to not listen to the crowd. We ought to have that kind of faith that persists and is humble. It just doesn't give up. Instead of giving up, it turns up. The Lord was not moved by anything but compassion. Let's be clear on that. He's not moved to some form of obligation, because after all, they were acting in faith. No, he was moved by his own compassion for them. What a wonderful story. So, dear friends, don't let the crowd tell you at what volume you ought to cry out to the Lord. Just cry out. Well, this is your study for today, and I will do my best. Pick up right where we left off with chapter 22. Or is that 21? What did I just do? Yeah, it was. In fact, my bookmark told me. Yes. We'll pick right up with chapter 21. Chapter 21 is loaded. There's a lot there. Appreciate your patience. I will do this. I'll upload when I can and teach these when I'm able. As the Lord makes me able. I appreciate all of you who follow along when they're available. We'll continue this journey through the Word. I've got to finish building this house. Grace and peace to you all.